The man actually bought 9 luxury villas after just a week of driving a cab, and today was the day he handed over the properties. Zhou Zhuan, a property manager, saw Lin Yi appear and hurriedly introduced him. Mr. Lin, our villas are furnished with the finest furniture, including all the soft furnishings and decorations. They are all from top international designers. It can't be described as high-end, low-key luxury with substance. Lin Yi listened to Zhou Zhuan's introduction while sitting lazily on the sofa. A moment he Saturday down. He couldn't help but sigh a little. It was worthy of a top-notch configuration. The feeling of fatigue was swept away, and the whole person had a feeling of being wrapped up in it. Seeing this, Zhou Zhuan told Lin Yi that the property had already screened a few private butlers for him. He had just passed the property interview, so if it was convenient, he could go and pick one out. However, just as Lin Yi arrived at the property office, he heard a woman's screams of terror coming from inside. Good Lord, this really wasn't an enemy. The one screaming was no other than Su Yan, the very same passenger who had been thrown halfway across the street by Lin Yi the day before. Zhou Zhuan, who didn't know what had happened between the two, immediately scolded Su Yan for her rude behavior. Naturally, Lin Yi also spotted Su Yan. You're here to apply for a job too. Su Yan's anger continues unabated. It's none of your business. How dare a smelly driver come to a place like this? But the next second, Zhou Zhuan directly picked up a big pussy bucket to meet him. He slapped Su Yan in the face. Mr. Lin is the owner of the Kyushu Pavilion. How dare you yell at him? Su Yan looked at his cousin Zhou Zhuan in front of him. You actually hit me for an outsider. How can he be the owner? He's just a taxi runner. Lin Yi's face showed displeasure after hearing that. How is that impossible? Where's the rule that drivers can't buy houses? Zhou Zhuan had been in the battlefield for a long time and naturally knew how to cajole his customers. He immediately ordered Su Yan to apologize to Lin Yi. Su Yan thought to himself, is it possible that is really a rich man who drove a taxi to experience life? After thinking about it for a while, Su Yan still chose to apologize. She showed her career line with ease to prove her sincerity to Lin Yi. However, her first impression with Lin Yi had collapsed long ago. He impatiently asked Zhou Zhuan to blow Su Yan out. Being here was polluting the air and spicy to the eyes. Thus, Su Yan was carried out by the staff like a fowl. The campaign for the private butler continued, and the 4 beautiful women with their curves and bumps, and their talents and colors, were the ones who stood out from the thousands of contestants. However, Lin Yi wasn't interested in them. He gave each of them 5,000 yen and sent them away. Afterwards, Lin Yi's cell phone received a short message. It turned out that Ji Qingyan's party had ended, and now she was ready to place an order for him to pick her up. Lin Yi immediately told Zhou Zhuan, please help me choose a few more housekeepers. Now that someone has placed an order, I need to go run a taxi to pick up the job. Zhou Xin nodded his head in the background. Not long after, Lin Yi came to drive to Zhongtang Hailuhui. At this time, Ji Qingyan was being pestered by a drunken male classmate. Old classmate Ding Yi also came over. He said he hadn't seen her for years. So why don't we have a good time? If it's too late, he can send Ji Qingyan home. Ji Qingyan hurriedly said that she had just called for a car, and that the company still had a lot of things to deal with. After hearing this, the female classmate said that the cabs nowadays are too unsafe. Just then, a handsome man appeared at the lobby door, walking towards Ji Qingyan. Who else could this person be but Lin Yi, who had the face, money, and a low profile? Ji Qingyan's face was filled with joy at seeing Lin Yi's arrival. However, Ding Yi, who was on the side, frowned. Who is this person who is so trusted by Ji Qingyan? The female classmate on the side was also someone with an eye. She hurriedly bragged. Yan, is this your friend? This face value can be a direct C-suite. Ding Yi listened with disdain. What's the use of being handsome? He's just a smelly cab driver. After hearing this, Lin Yi immediately asked, what's wrong with driving a cab? Ding Yi didn't dare to take offense, so he smiled and said, it's nothing. A taxi driver can know Yan. What's wrong with knowing the CEO? So what if he knows her? Lin Yi couldn't figure it out. Ding Yi awkwardly asked Ji Qingyan, is your friend's brain not working too well? How can driving a cab give him a sense of superiority? Unexpectedly, Ji Qingyan didn't want to pay any attention to Ding Yi, who was being rude in front of the crowd, but turned around and walked towards Lin Yi. She said to the crowd, even though Lin Yi drives a cab, he really should have this sense of superiority. The female students were like wallflowers, finding the right moment to defect to Ding Yi. Ding Yi just bought a top-of-the-line Grand Prix. Your friend can't buy one even if he drives a taxi for several lifetimes. Ji Qingyan immediately fell silent after hearing this. With her current status, she no longer needed to measure people materially, but she didn't expect her classmates to be so vulgar. She didn't pay any attention to them, but turned her head to Lin Yi and said, don't be general with them. They just drank too much fake alcohol. Let's get out of here. When Ding Yi saw Ji Qingyan defending the other party so well. He felt a little embarrassed. He vowed to show off his strong financial power. He called up his female classmates, and the four of them arrived at the underground parking lot. Seeing that the time was ripe, Dingy pressed the brand new car key in his hand and prepared to open his eyes to them. The $2 million car received the induction and then called out to times. This pleasant sound directly captured the hearts of the female students. What other music is more beautiful than this? Ji Qingyan demolished it on the spot. Was a Pagani your favorite car in college? Ding was a bit embarrassed. The cheapest Pagani cost $30 million. He can't afford it, the sharp-eyed female student exclaimed again. Ding, there is a Pagani parked right next to your car. Ding hurriedly dodged over to check it out. As expected, with its arrogant and cool styling, and its seductive and deep paint job, wasn't this the Pagani that he had never even dreamed of? Lainey said helplessly, "Are you done looking? Get out of the way." Lainey countered with disdain. "Brother is protecting you. Be careful of being blinded by a sports car." Lainey also did not talk too much. Directly took out his QQ car key and pressed it. He called out to Ji Qingyan in a soft tone. "Hurry up and go. My big miss, don't waste your time here." Looking at Ding Yi and his female classmates again, they directly frowned in place with the confused faces. How is this possible? How can a taxi driver earn so much now? And they can even buy a multi-million-dollar luxury car. Lin Versailles said, "Who says you can't run a cab if you drive a Pagani? Don't let poverty limit your imagination." Then, Lin kicked the gas. The roar of the Pagani sounded like a cocky shout, leaving Ding Yi and his female classmates in disbelief. In the darkness of the night, the Pagani's high beam seemed to cut to slits in the night color. Ji Qingyan apologized to Lin Yi in the car. She really didn't know her classmates were such snobs. But Lin Yi didn't care. Ji Qingyan had thought of going straight home, but she had a few drinks tonight. She asked Lin Yi to drive the car to the beach, where she wanted to sober up with a sea breeze. Lin Yi readily agreed. It was definitely a good decision, even though he was in a bit of a bad mood himself. At the same time, Lin Yi's full-time system received a prompt. 10 5-star reviews were received, rewarding 100,000 proficiency levels. Lin Yi thought privately, counting the one he was running now, that 7 positive reviews. The seaside at night was deep and charming. The coconut trees were rustled by the sea breeze. But just as the car pulled up to the side of the road, Ji Qingyan ordered Lin Yi to turn his face away, and not to turn it around. Lin Yi was shocked. "Are you going to change into a bathing suit and swim in the dark and windy weather?" Ji Qingyan immediately blushed. "I just want to take off my stockings and step in the sand." Lin Yi heard this and immediately said with a playful face, "Don't he just take off a stocking? What do you want me to turn around for? Is there nothing inside you?" Ji Qingyan saw that Lin Yi had no sense of boundaries more and more, so she made a move to take the life of her girlfriend and pinch her without mercy. The car instantly echoed with Lin Yi's screams. Ji Qingyan said, "I'm fully armed. You can turn around if you don't want to. You have to make sure you don't just look around." Then, Ji Qingyan slowly took off her stockings. Ji Qingyan, who had broken free of her bonds, was instantly refreshed, and she invited Lin Yi to take a walk on the beach with her. For the sake of this 5-star review, Lin Yi was obliged to do the same. The more you look at a beauty under the moon, the more energized you become, Ji Qingyan said to Lin Yi as she stepped on the water splashes. "My parents want you to attend my grandfather's birthday banquet." "Ew, pretend to be your boyfriend." Lin Yi was the first to steal the second half of Ji Qingyan's shyly spoken words. Lin Yi graciously said, "For the sake of you selling your dancing to me, I'll definitely go to Grandpa's birthday banquet." Suddenly, Ji Qingyan looked across the sea to the Kyushu pavilion. She was a bit surprised. "Why are the lights all on?" Lin Yi asked in confusion. "Isn't it normal for the lights to be on?" Ji Qingyan told him that the houses in the JoJo pavilion were expensive. That's why it hasn't been sold out. And it's the first time he's seen the lighted night view of the JoJo pavilion himself. Lin Yi directly said, "I can take you closer to see it. If you have your eye on a house, you can just live there." Lin Yi, who had been only asking for positive feedback, suddenly came up with such a sentence. Ji Qingyan couldn't help herself. She didn't expect him to have such a sense of humor. Lin Yi knew that Ji Qingyan thought he was joking, so he directly took her hand. As the saying goes, when it's time to strike, you strike. The JoJo Pavilion was a sort of hometown revisit for Ji Qingyan. She thought that when this place was up for bidding, it had lost out on the project due to a lack of funds. Seeing that Ji Qingyan was feeling a lot of emotions, Lin Yi teased, "You're at least a female president. You don't have to show such envy when you're just at the gate." Ji Qingyan didn't shy away from the fact that she said she had heard that swimming was possible here, and the water used is mineral water that was flown in. Seeing Ji Qingyan unable to hide the look of longing that she was showing, Lin Yi saw this and took her hand in his. "What's so curious about that? Let's just go inside and take a look around." Ji Qingyan was a bit resistant. She just wanted to look at the entrance. It would be embarrassing if she was kicked out. Lin Yi looked at her with some amusement. "What if I can take you in? Let's make another bet." Ji Qingyan directly set up a flag. "If you can take me in, I'll wear a bikini and swim around in it, so you can feast your eyes on it." Lin Yi heard the spirit of the direct. "Who stopped today is useless. I'm going to drive my car into it." Then he kicked on the gas and drove straight towards the Kyushu Pavilion, and both sides of the road were full of people. They thought the other party was coming to intercept them, but the next second, the two columns of people respectfully bowed towards their ride. Ji Qingyan was a bit surprised. Wasn't the Kyushu Pavilion known as the villa with the highest level of security? "How could it be?" she asked Lin Yi incredulously. "They just let us in. No need to check our identities or assets." Lin Yi said, "I don't know, but we came in anyway." At that moment, Ji Qingyan couldn't hold back her excitement. The legendary villa was so close. Even a female president of Ji Qingyan's status. When she arrived at the interior of the pavilion of Kyushu, she was as fresh and curious as when she entered the Grand View Garden. Lin Yi said, "Do you want some fruit? There's plenty on the trees. I can pick it for you." Ji Qingyan waved her hand. In case she lost $100,000 or $200,000, it would be a loss. Suddenly, Ji Qingyan's eyes glimpsed a spot that made her eyes light up. Isn't that the legendary swimming pool where mineral water is transported by air? Even from this far away, she could smell the freshness. Lin Yi supported Ji Qingyan. "Yes, that seems to be the swimming pool. Shouldn't you honor your promise, Mr. Ji Qingyan's face was on fire when she heard that. Where would she go to buy a bikini in the middle of the night? "Why don't we talk about it some other time?" The eyes of the two intertwined. A hint of ambiguity filled the air. Lin Yi thought about it and said, "Then next time, I'll remember anyway," as if she had escaped. Ji Qingyan directly urged him to hurry up and leave. Lin Yi said nonchalantly, "Do you want to go inside and take a look?" Ji Qingyan was shocked. "It's good to come to the courtyard to take a look. If you go inside, it's trespassing." Lin Yi pulled her. "There's no one in the villa, so what's wrong with coming here and taking a look?" Ji Qingyan repeatedly resisted, but in her heart, she actually wanted to take a look. Afterwards, Lin Yi put his hand on the sensor device at the door, only to hear the system ting. "Welcome home?" Ji Qingyan was directly rendered speechless by Lin Yi's scene. "What was this?" she asked incredulously. "This is your home," Lin Yi replied in a cloudy voice. "I just bought it yesterday. Mr. Ji can help me warm up the house and give me some guidance on the way." Ji Qingyan didn't know what to do for a moment, so she directly pounded Lin Yi's chest with her small fist. "This way you're pretending to be something else, so you're just going back to your own house." The opulent interiors and luxurious facilities overwhelmed Ji Qingyan. She asked Lin Yi how much he spent on this house. Lin Yi says about a few $1 billion. Ji Qingyan responded, "You're fooling me again. The most expensive one here is only $1.2 billion. Where did you get billions? Unless you bought all 9 villas here." Lin Yi didn't rush to explain, but slowly sat her down. Then Versailles said, "Is it possible that I am the one you said in your mouth unless?" Ji Qingyan was a bit incredulous. "You're a taxi driver. Where did you get so much money? Where did you get all that money?" Lin Yi thought about his full-time system and said, "It's probably a little bit easier than blowing in the wind." Ji Qingyan snickered. "It's so easy to make money. No wonder you want to drive a cab to experience life." Immediately after, Lin Yi said, "Tonight, I won't send you. Just stay here. You can pick which one you like." Ji Qingyan didn't resist. "So she'll send me to work tomorrow." Afterwards, Ji Qingyan asked Lin Yi with embarrassment, "Do you have any ladies' pajamas here?" Lin Yi looked at it flirtatiously. "I live alone here, so where are the ladies' pajamas?" "Don't worry, it's not like I'm going to peek at you." This news was a bit devastating to the pampered Ji Qingyan. How could she sleep without pajamas? Lin Yi hurriedly got up and said he'd go look for them. Ji Qingyan, who had been busy all day, went all the way to the bathroom and turned on the faucet. The hot water and steam washed away her dust and fatigue, while Lin Yi was sitting on the sofa reading a book. Ji Qingyan's scream suddenly came from the bathroom. When Lin Yi heard it, he immediately asked her what had happened. Ji Qingyan was embarrassed and wanted Lin Yi to come in. She had just accidentally fallen over. Lin Yi rushed into the bathroom without saying a word. However, Qingyan, wrapped in a towel, was directly exposed to him. She shyly stated that she had just accidentally broken her foot when she fell. She wondered if Lin Yi could help her take a bath. At this moment, Lin Yi couldn't help but gulp hard when he looked at the scene. He first slowly walked forward and helped Qingyan up. The warm and misty bathroom brought the ambiguous atmosphere to its peak. Qingyan was overwhelmed with emotion and greeted him with her own red lips. Lin Yi whispered with concern, "How is it? Is the water here the right temperature?" Qingyan didn't answer, but slowly removed the towel that was wrapped around her body. Lin Yi was no longer reserved and embraced Qingyan. That night, the two of them achieved a great harmony in their lives. The next morning, the sparrows outside the window chattered and laughed at the new couple in the house. Qingyan pulled the curtains aside, and the bright sunlight shone directly in. Then she lifted up Lin Yi's quilt, urging him to hurry up and go to work. 9 villas and you still have to go to work. This is really an endless endeavor. Lin Yi couldn't help but feel sorry for himself. I have to have a meeting with you at night, and I still have to get up and work in the morning. You're even more of a pickpocket than Joe PP. Qingyan naturally knew how to handle him. As long as you get yourself to the office on time, you get a 5-star review. After sending Qingyan away, it was already noon. Lin Yi was wondering if he should go to the Peninsula Hotel to have lunch first, and then prepare for the order. When the manager saw Lin Yi's arrival, he cordially addressed him as Mr. Lin and invited him inside. He also immediately called to arrange for the back kitchen, but was stopped by Lin Yi, who still wanted to keep a low profile. The manager had no choice but to stop and respectfully watch Lin Yi leave. Just as Lin Yi had eaten his fill and was about to ask the waiter to pay the bill, the waiter immediately recognized Lin Yi. It turned out that the waiter was Lin Yi's boss, Yu Lily, who had been fired and had become a waitress at the restaurant. Yu Lily had a grudge against Lin Yi. "I fired you, and you're going to sue me for spite. You're really a scum." As she spoke, she actually threw the menu on the table, completely disregarding her status as a waitress, and yelled at Lin Yi. Even Lin Yi himself was taken aback. As a waitress, how dare you insult a customer? Do you know that the customer is God? At this moment, the resentment in Yu Lily's body scared even ghosts. She shouted at Lin Yi for not being worthy of being a guest of the Peninsula Hotel, for not being a white boy who had fallen for a rich woman. Her sudden madness shocked her colleagues, who were watching from the sidelines. After all, this customer was very unusual, but Yu Lily was still mouthing off. Not only did she describe Lin Yi as a gigolo who sold his sex to impress rich women, she even told him that he used to work under her. Seeing that the crowd was getting bigger and bigger, Lin Yi instructed another waiter to find the hotel manager. Yu Lily even didn't expect him to know the manager. He must have seen it on the news. After all, the manager of the Peninsula Hotel wouldn't know such a low-end customer like you. Lin Yi was also scolded a little bit. Eat a lesson and grow wiser. For the sake of a former colleague, today I'll let you have a good long memory. A dog's eye view of others. In the middle of the conversation, a rush of footsteps came this way. The person who came was the manager of the hotel. When she saw the manager appear, Yu Lily was the first to complain and told him to call the security guards to throw Lin Yi out. The manager hadn't expected something like this to happen. He directly publicized Lin Yi's identity at the moment. He's the boss here. If he wants to kick someone out, he'll kick you out. A smelly loser, transformed into the boss of the Peninsula Hotel. Yu Lily couldn't believe it even if she thought about it. The manager, who was furious, even wanted to pull Yu Lily into the blacklist. Let's see what company still dares to want you. You've got a lot of nerve insulting the boss. Until the security guards appeared and dragged her out, Yu Lily was still undeterred and asked, "You really are the boss of the Peninsula Hotel?" The manager hurriedly apologized to Lin Yi at the thought of such a misunderstanding early in the morning. "Mr. Lin, I'm really sorry to have disturbed your dinner." Lin Yi naturally knew Yu Lily's nature and didn't criticize him too harshly. "But next time you must do a clear back tone. People with bad character should never be hired. Today's accident is not your fault. Hurry up and serve the food." Lin Yi does not want to let Yu Lily ruin his good mood of the day. As he was talking, his cell phone rang on the table. Lin Yi curiously picked up the phone, only to realize that the person on the other end of the line was actually Tian, the senior vice president of the Abracadabra platform. She wanted to meet Lin Yi on behalf of the company. Lin Yi didn't refuse. "I just remembered that I have other things to do in the morning, so why don't I contact you in the afternoon instead?" The delicate beauty on the other end of the phone didn't get angry at being rejected. Hanging up the phone, the little assistant beside her hurriedly asked, "Did Lindon agree to meet?" Tian only said to contact again in the afternoon. After all, she still has to go to the operating agent inspection. Hearing that Tian was going out, the little assistant hurriedly used her cell phone to place an order on the blah blah platform. At this time, Lin Yi ate and drank enough, is ready to start a new day of the driver's life. Thinking of something, his cell phone prompted an order nearby, from the Peninsula Hotel to Garax. There was no reason to turn down business that was at your doorstep. Lin Yi rushed to the location on the order. "Hello, are you Miss Tiao with tail number 6888? I'm a driver from the Abracadabra platform." Tian didn't expect the current drivers to be so young and handsome. For a moment, she even stuttered a bit. After confirming the passengers, Lin Yi also revealed the luxury sports car Pagani behind him. "The first time I saw someone driving a blah blah with a sports car. Even Tian, who was the vice president, was a bit shocked. Isn't this a waste? When did our company become so powerful?" Lin Yi was all smiles, confirming once again that it was the driver of the blah blah blah. "Mister, please get in the car. You can't stay in front of the hotel for too long." After all was said and done, Tian could only get into the $30 million sports car with a belly full of suspicion. This was also the first time she sat in such an expensive car. Her mouth couldn't help but flirt. It is estimated that many girls will feel hot when they get into the car. Liv was said to be a scum. Lin Yi was also full of black lines. Does the platform stipulate that you can't run abracadabra with a sports car? Tian immediately changed her face after hearing this. Of course not. But you must be careful with your words. If you do something to discredit blah blah, beware of being suspended from transportation. He is the senior vice president of blah blah company. This point of right is still there. Opening a mouth. The content all rely on their own makeup. You make up. You continue to make up. I also say that I am the shareholders of blah blah company. In order to dispel doubts, Tian directly pulled out her work permit, which is clearly written, Tian, vice president of blah blah company. What a coincidence. But Lin Yi wasn't the least bit panicked, because just yesterday, he had already acquired 21% of the equity of blah blah company. Hearing about the acquisition of equity, Tian tentatively inquired, "Could it be that you're Lin Yi?" "Mr. Lin." Lin Yi nodded. "Yes, it's me. It's really a big watery mess." Tian's face was like an overturned dye pot, a burst of red and white. She also didn't expect this person in front of her to be the Lin Dong she was looking for. Lin Yi was already not surprised by this kind of thing. Her mouth instructed her to fasten her seatbelt and set off immediately. With an ear-splitting sound of brakes, the Pagani arrived at its destination, the Garax Corporation. Tian thanked Lin Yi and invited him to join her when he had time, as she still had a lot of things to discuss with him. As she was talking, Tian realized that she couldn't settle her bill, let alone get a positive review. Lin Yi hurriedly took out his cell phone and realized that his account had been blocked by the platform. There was no need to even think about it. It must be that crazy bitch from last time. She definitely complained again, and that's what caused her account to be blocked. Since she had already arrived at the downstairs of the operating company, she might as well go up and find out how this complaint could be withdrawn. Tian pinched a cold sweat for herself at the side. If the operating company offended the major shareholders, she didn't know how she could go back to her work. It's better to appease the shareholders first. Don't worry, Landon, I'll go and figure it out right now and have the company cancel their agency. Since they were downstairs, Lin Yi also wanted to go up and see just how this agency handled complaints. As the door to the conference room was opened with force, there was a loud bang, instantly startling the employees inside who were in the middle of a meeting. Lin Yi opened the door and directly said that you've disqualified me from operating, so I've come to have a chat with you. Lu Wenda, the president of Garax, shrugged it off and asked his subordinate, Lo Wenfa, to handle the complaints. Lo Wenfa didn't hide his face when he saw Lin Yi. How dare you find this place? You've got a lot of nerve. What's wrong with me blocking you if someone complains? Lo Wenfa's unexpected reaction gave Lin Yi the sudden urge to watch the show. He sat on his ass on the sofa. Block your number if you complain. I'll see how you handle it. Might as well command Tian to handle this matter with full authority. Tian had been holding her fire for a long time. You guys didn't even tune out the investigation. I am now informing you as the vice president of blah 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 that your company has been disqualified from operation. Lu Wenda also did not expect that the sexy beauty in front of him was actually the vice president of blah blah. This is really a kick in the teeth. Tian, also lazy to argue, say anything is not as good as their own look. Directly to the work card, a hand slammed on the desktop. Seeing the 3 big words written above the vice president, Luanda and Luo Yuanfa completely panicked. But it's just a blocked account. How did it cause the vice president to personally come down? Quickly go and check to see what's going on. Only then did Luo Yuanfa talk about what happened that day. Lin Yi had chosen to block his number because it had abused the passengers and caused a bad influence on the company. Speaking of abusing passengers, Tian was furious. The person you're talking about verbally abusing passengers is the second largest shareholder of Baba. Are you sure you're right? This hairy kid is actually a shareholder of the Baba platform. Isn't he just a driver who drives a blah blah blah? How is this possible? The identity of the director was once again questioned, making Tian really unable to bear it. Lin Dong is a big hermit. This is personally going down to understand the company's business. What's wrong with that? No one has dared to bully the shareholders of our blah blah platform yet. Do you still want to work or not? Liu Wenda immediately noticed that the big thing is not good. Hurriedly asked Luo Yuanfa. In the end, there is no mistake. He actually blocked a shareholder's account on the platform. Luo Yuanfa is only a small staff. Whereas he's seen this kind of scene, he hurriedly kneeled down to apologize. Begging Lin Yi not to revoke our company's operating status, but all he got in return was an icy kick from Lin Yi. This time, he realized what was going on. Small companies don't have a lot of rules, and there shouldn't be a few people who have been bullied by you over the years. As a shareholder of the Baba platform, he must rid the people of evil today. Now I'm officially informing you that the operating qualification of the Baba platform has been cancelled. Lin Yi's words had just finished when his cell phone rang once again. He signaled Tian to continue dealing with them, while turning around and going out to answer the call. The caller was no other than Ji Qingye. Tomorrow is Grandpa's birthday party. I want to buy clothes for the evening, and buy you a few by the way. Lin Yu was thinking about the old man's birthday. What kind of gift should I give him? If it's too frivolous, I'm afraid it won't make a good impression. Just as he was thinking, Tian walked out of the office. Mr. Lin, things had been taken care of. Not only did your account get unblocked, but you've also been given the highest privileges. One of the items is that users can search for license plate numbers to place orders. You can choose to take or not to take. I didn't realize that this highest authority was quite practical, and it immediately stunned Lin Yi. He remembered the birthday present again. Why don't we let Tian make a little suggestion, and also give himself a reference? Tian thought about it. Old people may prefer antique paintings and drawings. Do you think Zhang Daqian's paintings will work? Zhang Daqian's painting is a rare good thing. Lin Yi decided it was without even thinking about it. How much is it? I'll call you with the money. Tian refused. I don't dare to ask for your money. Just tell me where to send it. I'll arrange for my assistant to send it right away. Lin Yi said to send to the Peninsula Hotel. But after thinking about it, I don't want to owe others a favor, so I'll use 1% of the equity to exchange for the painting. 1% of the equity, that's 5 small goals. This Lin Dong is also too generous. Lin Yi waved his hand indifferently. The mode of operation will continue as before. I won't interface too much, and you can handle the rest on your own. Seeing Lin Yi about to leave, Tian hurriedly said, Mr. Lin, our president would like to invite you to Yongchang as a guest and sit down for a chat. I'll go to Yongchang, but not right now. I'll contact you when the time comes, Lin Yi said and left in stride. Speaking of Yongchang, it was such a sad place, but it was time for him to go back and see the orphanage. Leaving the company, Lin Yi drove the Pagani and prepared to head to the Peninsula Hotel. Just then, the platform sent a new order, and the destination happened to be the Peninsula Hotel as well. So Lin Yi decisively took the order, and on the side of the road at the moment, Yan Tianxin was holding her newly purchased underwear, waiting for Lin Yi to arrive. As the Pagani shone, Yan Tianxin was also stunned by the handsome sports car. Lin Yi first introduced himself. Hello, I'm the driver of the blah blah platform. Get in the car now. Although Yan Tianxin got into the car, she only thought of the sports car, soliciting customers as a marketing tool for the blah blah platform. Lin Yi hurriedly explained the car was his own, not the platform's. Who's rich enough to drive a blah blah? Do you think I'm a little girl who hasn't seen the world? Yan Tianxin's disdain made Lin Yi very unhappy, but for the sake of the favorable mission, he could only pretend he couldn't hear it, and press the gas pedal to the floor. As long as he got to his destination as soon as possible, he'd be able to free himself without any problems. Lin Yi chose the quickest path, but he never expected that Yang Tianxin would misunderstand that he was taking the long way around. No matter how much Lin Yi tried to explain, she still firmly believed in her idea. You're just trying to take a detour to charge me more money. Through his afterglow, Lainey also saw the shopping bags beside her. Without exception, they were all high-end underwear. Buying such expensive underwear to go to a hotel, shouldn't a horrible thought keep sprouting in his mind?